Hey everyone, this is Jaeger here with Rusher's Toys, and today I've talked about it. We're finally going to do it. We're going to do the comparison of the 93 Jurassic Park T-Rex, the Kenner, to the new Mattel Real Feel Tyrannosaurus Rex. I'm excited to do this because I keep looking at these dinosaurs, and I know I've talked about it, about doing these videos, and I wanted to do this. We got enough comments and we've gotten some emails on this. And so I wanted to really touch base. And it's one of the things that I really haven't done was compare the two. And you guys, like, you can see that my Red Rex from my collection does not like to stand. You know, and this is one of the things that I don't think a lot of people understood is these T-Rexes did not like to stand even back in the day. So we can already characterize that. And like the legs, you know I could probably put a block in here to hold it, but I'd rather show it how its true form is. And you can see that it just doesn't like to stand. The feet never are level. I mean, I think when we always had these on our shelves, you know, with our displays for our toys, you'd always have to have them propped up to a wall or something, you know, because they just never could stand. But, you know, just looking at the Red Rex itself, like this is the original one. We're going to start with the original. You can see the head sculpt. It is a really cool sculpt for what it was in the 90s. The arms, yes, it looks like it was lifting weights, you know. It was so... The arms were always one of the weird things, you know. I mean, this dinosaur was the main dinosaur all my friends, my family played with. But, you know, it was a really cool dinosaur for that time. And you got the JP9, you know, the color, the paint. The cool thing is it was all rubber except for the legs. This is just the hard plastic. And one of the things that I don't know if everyone knows, but this is filled with a foam, you know, like a padding, like a... like sort of like a cotton in here too. And I just think that these legs were never truly supported. I think when it stood in the box, if I recall, it sat in a box like this where the legs were completely flat and pressed, so it always looked like it would stand. But when you got it out of the box, the legs always went like something wonky, you know. And we've got some in our own collection. We've got a couple of these where the legs have pulled completely, you know, and I think it's just that. But then you have the sound effects, you know. There was only 2 sound effects with this, which is really cool. You know, this was something that, like, you know, no one, I don't think any of my friends, family, anyone said anything where the dinosaur doesn't sound like from the movie. It was just playing and eating, and I mean, like, you know, it would eat the Alan Grant figure, all of them. Everyone always had that. You know, but you can really just see the detail, the paint, the detail, the skin textures. For the 90s, this was such an amazing toy, and it's such a collector's item, you know, and it still is sought after to this day. The paint color, I was always a fan of. I never thought, oh, it doesn't look like the paint from the movie. But, you know, for me, it was just, it just was that dinosaur. It was, you know, and that's the way it was. And I just think it's such a cool color. But we're going to set that to the side. And then we're going to grab the Mattel. Now, Mattel really did a great job with this. I have to still lean on this and say this is probably the best Tyrannosaurus Rex that Mattel has ever released, in my opinion. This is just my opinion. But we're not counting the Rebirth toy line yet because we don't have the Rebirth toys here yet. We'll get to compare, you know, the new T-Rex in that. But I just think, like, the paint job, because they captured the nostalgia of it. I like that you can stand this in multiple ways. I love that you can have, like, the giant, you know, the mouth, all of that going, you know, and I just think that it looks so cool. You know, I just truly think that this dinosaur is, you know, that's why I wanted to make this video. I love the original toys so much because it was my childhood and it was all, but because you're able to stand this up, I think that I have to give this to Mattel on this and just say, I think, like, for nostalgia or collectors, I think that. But when you look at this T-Rex, like, you know, you've got the real feel, you've got the plastic legs. They figured out what didn't work with the original, with the Kenner, you know, and they made it theirs with this. Like, you know, yes, there's a gaping hole here, but again, you gotta, you know, not everything's gonna be 100% perfect. And I mean, you know, it's for playability too. And you can make this T-Rex look like he's lifting weights, but nowhere close to the original, you know. And look at the mouth. You can open the mouth, you can close the mouth, you can do the upper jaw, close low, you know, close upper, open lower, have that cool pose. You can have it eat an action figure. The original didn't have that, so they put the feature like what the Bull T-Rex had in the Lost World, the gulping feature. They put that in here, and I think that is just something so cool. Mattel made this their own, and I love the fact that they took something that was so great and they made it their own, and then they did the sound effects. You know, and they put the 93 sounds from the movie in it, you know, and that one's just not. So you guys can see, like, just looking at this, I know that I had to move the T-Rex. My poor camera cut out for a second, but like the sound effects, just like looking at this, the detail. You know, this is the one I think that you'd have to go with. If you're just starting to get into Jurassic World, Jurassic Park, and you're starting to collect, I'd probably start with this real feel classic. Like I said, you can make it look just like the Kenner. You know, it's just the premium T-Rex. I think this is the best T-Rex that Mattel could have ever put out. I really do. I'm excited to see how it compares to the Jurassic World Rebirth. I'm not gonna lie, guys, like, one of the things is I'm sort of holding off on doing those reviews because I want to be surprised with the movie too. I know that some people have already leaked those videos, and I'm just gonna go off on a little tangent right now just for a second, and then we're gonna bring it back. But I think that with those dinosaurs already being out, I think that's pulled away from the movie because people are already tearing apart the villain dinosaur and that. And it's like, you haven't even seen the movie, so don't say anything until you've actually seen the movie. But that's why I'm holding off on it. And the other part of it too is, like I've told you guys in all my videos, and I'm going to keep preaching this to you guys to help with budgeting and that too, is you know, you don't always have to buy everything right away just to get it first or what, you know, whatnot. With the Jurassic Park and the Star Wars and that, I know some of it sells out really quick, but the majority of it always comes back in stock and then it goes on sale. So, you know, if you're looking to save money, I'd probably advise to wait until after the movie comes out, and then they'll probably do another big sale at Target and Walmart because they did it with the Dominion toys. But back on the Red Rex, I look at this and I just see, like, this is more in scale. You know, I love the fact that they tried to mimic as close as they could to the original, and I wish that there was a stomping feature, but there isn't. But when you look at these, you know, together, you know, of course the Kenner one's just a hair bigger, which is okay. The Kenner never went with scale with the action figures. They just had big dinosaurs and small dinosaurs, juvenile T-Rexes and big T-Rexes. But, you know, I think, like, if I had to pick, I would actually start with this. I don't know. I want to know, what do you guys think? Do you agree with my choice? Would you start with this for a collector if you're just getting into it? You know, I think, you know, like right now, why I say like getting one of these anyways is I believe that these will probably be discontinued by the end of this year. For 2025, and I think these are a great collector's piece to add. I believe that these will definitely go up in value in the next couple of years. This is definitely one to add to your collection. I just think that this is like the coolest dinosaur that Mattel's released ever, and I wanted to do this video just for that reason, because I always come in and I look at this dinosaur and I'm like, what a cool piece. And let's do the comparison video. You know, I just think that this T-Rex here just has so much detail, so much scale, so much personality, and the paint is just cool. I love the red and the black with the green tint. I just think that looks so cool. I don't know. Like I said, the only thing that I think that it could have used, though, was like, I think it would have been cool if they would have turned like a retro feature on here, like a retro sound effect button to where you could have turned and toggled the sound off and on. I think that would have looked really cool, and it would have just captured that total nostalgia from the 90s, because they capitalized on everything that Kenner did and didn't do and made it better. And I just think it would have been cool to have the retro sounds. But I still give this a 10 out of 10. And I give the original Kenner T-Rex a 10 out of 10. You know, for that time. I know, like, if I probably would have taken better care of this dinosaur too and not just thrown it in a tub, it probably would stand a little better. But again, I still just give it a 10 out of 10. Not every figure of Kenner's was a 10 out of 10 for sure, but the T-Rex was the one that set the standard for all other T-Rexes, you know. But just looking at those, I want to know, what do you guys think? Would you agree with the score? Would you give it a 10 out of 10, or would you give each of them a different score? And what do you guys think? What could have made this better, if not better, or what they could have done differently? Would you wanted a different paint job? Do you think Mattel should just re-release this Real Feel into another T-Rex and do like a paint job for the Thrasher T-Rex? What do you guys think? I want you to think on that. Let us know in the comment section. I want to ask you guys, if you haven't already, make sure you subscribe to our channel. Keep following along. We have been doing Pokemon videos, but we are still doing our Jurassic World stuff. We're gearing up for Jurassic World Rebirth. We're excited to do those toys unboxing with you guys. And we're also excited to bring in our retro, our vintage collection, the Jurassic World and Jurassic Park collections. You know, all across all movies. We're going to be celebrating that this year with the movie